Hey, we're right at the corner. I'm turning right on Broadway right now. Broadway and 9th. I'm in a white
I'm gonna be on your right.
white Mercedes.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, bye. Hey, welcome to Locals Only. I'm Eric Hale, and if you don't know me, I'm the guy that founded Local Magazine 14 years ago in my garage. It's been my job for all those years to tell you the coolest places to eat in all of Southern California, fun things to do so you have date nights that aren't boring, and we've talked to some really interesting people. Now we have a podcast, and we're lucky enough to call this Mercedes-Benz EQE all-electric sedan, courtesy of Fletcher Jones Motorcars in Newport Beach, our mobile podcast studio. So sit back, buckle up, and enjoy the conversation. Welcome to Locals Only. Today, we're in downtown Los Angeles, and we're picking up Moe Jeudy Lamour. You might recognize Moe from his role as either Zorro or Van Damme on the hit series Ted Lasso for the past 3 seasons. But today, we're picking up Moe, we're going to drive to Hollywood, and we're going to talk about rooming with Jason Sudeikis, what he learned about his work ethic, and also about his new movie, Code 8, Part 2. So sit back, buckle up, and enjoy the ride in our all-new Mercedes-Benz EQE mobile podcast studio, courtesy of Fletcher Jones Motorcars in Newport Beach. We're here with Moe Jeudy Lamour.
That's perfect. Well done.
There we go.
Well done.
And you might know him from the hit TV show Ted Lasso.
Yes, sir.
One of the biggest television shows to hit, I guess, television ever. One of the biggest ever.
Ever.
Won more awards than almost any show.
Yeah. A lot.
So you might recognize Moe as the kind of quiet, would you say quiet goalkeeper?
I don't know.
Show?
Quiet. I don't know.
How would you describe
quiet.
yourself?
I think he's like the weird uncle. He's the weird, like he wants to cook in your kitchen. He asks you weird questions.
Okay,
you know, he does dumb stuff.
Okay.
That's more the character.
Like
The funny
quirky,
thing
quirky,
is,
like
yeah,
quirky.
Funniest thing is that description came from Tahib, who plays Samuel Bisanya. Because we were talking about our characters, and he was like, "Yeah, but your character, you're like the weird uncle." And I was like, "Wait, what?" And then he explained it, and I was like, "Oh my God, you're so right. That's exactly who I am."
So you're just a little bit quirky as your character.
Yeah, definitely.
And also a character that came into his own very much, I think, in the third season,
yeah.
right? Like there was a lot of spotlight on you. Right?
Yeah, which was great. That was a lot of fun. Funny thing is, it was like I always knew everything that was going to happen because like the writers told me about stuff that were going to happen, and and then it's just towards the end of the show it started happening. So I was so glad, and it was a lot of fun. And the writers, like I was saying about the Cristo and stuff, they really listen to you. So when I first heard of your character is going to be, it's a goalkeeper, but he wants to become a movie star. I was like, oh, his nickname should be Van Damme. And Jason was like, yeah, okay, perfect. And so that's why my nickname is Van Damme on the show. It's just really, really cool.
That is great.
Yeah.
Now you had a little bit of a special relationship with Jason since you just mentioned him, right?
Yeah, dude, this guy's the best. Definitely one of the best people I've ever met. We did a movie together in 2016 called Race.
Mm-hmm.
It was filming in Montreal. That's how I first met him. He was really, really cool. And then we ended up living together for season 1 of Ted Lasso, which is...
So you, just to get this right, you lived with Jason?
Yeah.
For the whole first
1.
season?
Yeah, he was just dope, man. He was just like, listen, like if it's going to be complicated for you to get a place and this and that, so just stay with me. And so I was like, dude, this guy is so generous. He's so nice.
Wow.
And so, so first season I was with him, and it was great because I saw so much of him. Like, that's when I understood what work ethic is and someone who has like stamina for work, like crazy, because I lived a different life. You know, I just had a character, but he was a writer, producer of the show, and he's the main actor. And so I would, my call time would be like 9 a.m., but his was like 5 a.m. So They would pick him up at 5 a.m. They would pick me up at like 10. I'd go on set for a couple of hours, have food, hang out, and then go back home at 3 p.m., play a little bit of video games, go out, have dinner with some friends, discover the city, have a blast, come back home, play video games, and then he would walk in from work at like 9 p.m.
Wow.
And then he would just open his laptop and work on the sites for the next day.
No, really?
Yeah. and then do it again the next morning and wake up at 4 a.m., do his thing, and then I would just watch movies and hang out. I was on like a paid vacation.
Now, did that inspire you? It sounds like that would be super inspiring to
my God,
see somebody with that ethic.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, to me, it's like stamina or cardio. If I put it into like sports terms, it's like, how can you do that? Like, how can you have this much like, oh yeah, I need to keep working. I need to keep doing that. When that's like so much endurance. You've just worked all day. And like, I bet you, even like now, like last time I worked was in September. If you put me on a set right now and I have to remember lines and hit my mark and say lines, I would be beat within 2 hours. Like, it sounds very easy.
Right. It's the mental strain.
But the mental strain you go through to know, like, okay, I have to say this line, and then the director told me that I have to sit on this line, and then I have to remember to look this way when I do. So your brain is working like, but he's doing all of that, and he's like telling the other actor, like, no, you have to stand up because in 4 episodes, you guys are going to be dating. Therefore, both of you guys have to be on the same level. So you two walk in and you stay on the level and we will all sit. And then you're like, what, bro?
Vision,
Yeah.
How cool. What a neat thing to see. Do you ever see yourself going in that direction? Or was it something that...
Directing? I don't know. I mean, writing, definitely.
Writing?
So the moment, like every year, I try to learn a new skill in my business. Every time I get a part on something, I try to use that money towards learning a new skill. And so usually the skill is within my business. But so the first season was doing improv. So I learned how to do improv, which was a blast. It was
fun.
So you went on stage and did like comedy improv.
Yeah. I learned how to do that. That was cool.
What was your opening joke? How did you get their attention?
But that's
do you
the thing.
remember, or you just walk out and
that's
start
the thing.
riffing?
It's always you
On
always
the
riff.
fly.
Yeah, just riffing.
It's on the fly. Yeah.
Wow. So you didn't have a set.
No, you never have a set. It's improv.
Oh, I had no. I'm learning something new. When I think improv, I think of like the comedy club and people are coming out and doing a show.
Oh yeah, but even if that's what it is, it's gonna be okay. So do you guys have any suggestions? And then someone is gonna say a word, and then they riff on that word.
Oh, fun!
It was so everyone on set. Well, everyone, like most of the people on set who were like the Jason, the Brandon, the Joes, and all of that, they all did improv. Mm-hmm. So for them, it was like I could tell they were so much more advanced than anyone else.
Right.
So I was like, okay, I need to do that, and so I did that. It was great. It was really, really fun.
Do you feel like that's helped with your acting?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely, but you have to be careful because a lot of people will do improv, and that's Seth Rogen who said that on a podcast, and I was like, wow, that's so interesting. He was like, people like guys like Jonah Hill will do improv, but it will improve the writing that's already there.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So he's not going to make a joke about something that makes no sense with the plot. He's going to say a joke that's going to advance the plot.
Smart.
And that is really tough to do. And that is what Jason does all the time. Brandon does that all the time. So they were very, very good with that. But sometimes you'll be on set and you'll see people do improv and you're like, yo, what are you talking about? Yeah. Why are you talking about your mom right now?
Nice.
So I'd love to hear the Ted Lasso stories, and maybe you could tell me another fun one later. But something that interests me is I think a lot of people that are in, probably in the acting world doing what you do, they'd kill to be on Ted Lasso, and they probably have no idea how you got there. Did you know somebody? Was it nepotism? Like, how did you get that? I'd love to know that. But I'd also like to talk to you after that about what it's like now that you've been on there, because I'm sure everybody else also assumes that it's super easy to get your next job because you're on Ted Lasso. So what was it like to get that gig? What was the feeling? What was, what happened that day? But then also maybe let's just reflect on how that's affected you now.
So getting the job was like definitely a great experience. It was really, really cool because, people say nepotism and stuff like that. It's which is kind of true, but also I still had to audition, because even though I knew Jason, I had to audition for it.
Right.
And it was a great little thing because I auditioned, and like before I auditioned, I knew I was going to audition because Jason was like, yo, I'm going to send the audition to your agents and stuff like that. And so you'll have to audition. So I was like, okay, cool. And then the audition comes through and I learn it, and Jason helps me a little bit with it, helps me a lot with it. And then so I go and do the audition, and I hear nothing from no one for a while. like more than a month and a half.
So that's even worse because you feel like you have a little bit of a
Dude,
foot in the door,
that was
and
the
then nobody
worst.
writes back, and you're like, I really must have.
It
must have botched that up.
So you know what I did? I doubled up on my acting classes.
Good for you.
I was like, I need to go more. Because
harder.
that means I suck.
Really missed
if I
it.
know if my boy is doing the show and I can't even get it, that's bad.
What were you imagining he was saying behind closed doors when
that
you
we
saw
were
it?
done. We were just never going to see each other again. He was just like, oh my God, he's horrible. Done.
How do I tell him?
Oh,
It was such a bad feeling because it's your friend and you know he's such a nice dude and all, and he's like, yo, I can't get you anything, bro. You just bad.
No.
So it was really tough. Very, very tough. For
So
like
how did
a
you
month
find
and a half.
out, and what was that feeling like?
So
as soon as you
he
found out?
called me and he was like, listen, we watched your tape, and so everyone had to audition, and it was dummy sides. So dummy sides is basically sides that are not it's like the script but not really the script. So
Okay.
it's fake.
Okay, fake
like
script.
Yeah, it's like a fake script, but it was all Jamie Tart. And it was scenes that never happened throughout the show, but it was
Right.
Jamie Tart being Jamie Tart, which is an extremely tough character to portray.
That's what
because
you were reading to be.
everyone was reading to
Oh
be that.
gosh.
Yeah, because
Because that's not. I don't see you being a Jamie Tart type.
So
you're
that's the
such a
thing.
nice person.
Yeah, but you know what? You know what? Phil Dunster, who plays Jamie Tart, is
Yeah.
way nicer of a person.
Really?
I
Yeah,
believe it.
he's one
He
of the
just
best
plays
people,
an asshole really
He's
really
just
well.
but that's the thing is he's not really an asshole. He's more of just someone who's hurt,
Yes.
and he.
Well, you don't find that
tries
out
to-
until the later
Yeah,
seasons. Like in the
that's it.
first season, he comes across as just a kind of a not a nice guy,
That's it.
and then you kind of. I think
But
that's
you know what? I don't know about that. I feel
Really?
like if you watch it now again,
maybe
especially
with a different set of eyes.
you with the experience of life that you have, I feel
Yeah.
like if you watch it again, you'll be like, oh, you actually no, he's not a bad guy. He's just
He was
that's
hurting.
a hurt person.
He was
yeah.
hurting.
It's someone who's hurt.
Yeah, I think you could be right there.
Yeah, I think it's just what it is, and that's how Phil played it. Because you can watch it back and be like, oh yeah, no, he's not that bad. And by the way, Phil beat out 600 people for that part.
Really?
Wow.
Literally. Because I know the casting director, and she told me that straight up. She was like, it was 600 people that auditioned. We watched 600 tapes. He was the best.
I think that's one of the things that I would say best about that show is I think across. I mean, there were so many good things about it, and not that this is talking specifically about you, but the casting seemed to be really
Yeah,
on.
dude,
It
the
just felt
casting
like it just felt really
And that's-
natural. It felt like people that could be playing. Now, you're not really a goalkeeper in real life.
Yeah.
So in that final season,
So that's the funny thing. That was literally part of the call with Jason because he called me and he was like, "Yo, listen. So yeah, by the way, we only watched your tape like not long ago. So like for a while, my tape wasn't even no one has seen it. So I was like, oh, I didn't even know. And he's like, yeah. So I watched it. We watched it. The producers watched it. They love you. But we're gonna get you something else. It's not gonna be Jamie Tart. It's gonna be a different character, and you'll be the goalkeeper of the team, and this and that. And I was like, oh my God, that's great. Yeah. Okay, perfect. And then, but he was like, but did you play? And I was like, nah, I never played, dude. I played American football. So he was like, yeah, so I'll make you the goalkeeper then, because you'll just catch the ball. And I was like, you know what? I think a striker would be more fun. He's like, how old are you? And then I told him my age. He's like, trust me, be the goalkeeper. and then we start working, and I'm like, oh my God, thank you so much for that, because they keep running the whole time, and I'm just standing around just chilling. Like I had so much time off, I could chill. So I was very, very happy of him being like, yeah, no, dude, trust me, just be the goalkeeper. And then, it was great. And then so then for the first and second season, there was not a lot of football, and I was always told that in the third season there would be a lot of football. Right. And so between season 2 and 3, I got a coach, and then I just started training like crazy.
yeah. So and you trained to be a goalkeeper because you had that shot in the scene. That beautiful.
Oh, dude, that was the second day of filming.
Right? That was
Actually,
a great
sorry, that was the
save.
first day of filming, because
Wow.
we were so late on starting to film. They were like, yo, whatever you guys do, now we need to do football stuff at the beginning of the shoot. So I was like, wait, what? Which was brutal, because when we do football scenes, we'll do just football scenes for hours, like for days on end. We're just doing football. Yeah, it's like we call it Hell Week. And so we would just do like that for a whole week.
Really?
And then it was tough. When those happened maybe 4 or 5 times throughout the season, so
It seems counterintuitive. Like what if you got hurt?
Exactly. Thank you very
before
much.
the season, right?
That's exactly what happened a lot.
Yeah.
Kola got hurt a lot. A lot of people got hurt, and it's like, you don't want to be the guy that's like, hey, I'm not gonna do this today. You know, you wanna have fun with your buddies and stuff like that too. You know, so it's it was a little tough.
So, let's get to the other question, right? So now you've been on a show that has been seen around the world, right? You're a recognizable face. People know that you can hold your own. You got the acting chops, and people have seen that in a big forum on a big stage. What is it like now? Does that mean automatically that your phone's just ringing off the hook and people want you to be in every major production? Or, or what does that look like now?
No, it's very...
Does it make it easier, or is it still the same grind?
It's always the same grind, or more like much harder, because you're trying to get like quality stuff and good stuff and things like that. But it's a tough grind. Like there was strikes. So we ended, and then I think, did we end? And I think as we were ending, I think the strike, or maybe like a few weeks after we ended, the strike started for writers. Right. And then it was actors. And then, so that was like 6 or 7 months of just momentum dying.
Right.
Just
well, for everybody, not just actors, writers,
just for everyone.
Every single person in Hollywood.
Just finished, so like we would have been like, oh yeah, we want to see him for this part, we want to see him for that part.
High,
None of because we're on our high.
Yeah.
Nothing. So nothing, and then you know, like in our day and age, there's so much content and there's so much coming out. So it's like boom, 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 boom. People forgot the show already. Yeah, so it's like, oh, okay.
That's a tough break. Yeah,
you never go back to the beginning. Like it's never like if I say Ted Lasso, people still know, which is pretty good, but it's definitely was a little tougher than what we expected. But I got lucky again, like the Code 8 that I did in between season 2 and 3, which was again, I can't stress this enough. It was so much fun to film, and I think it's gonna be a great movie. And then also, throughout the strike, it was just I went, so this year with season 3, when I came back to LA, I was like, okay, now what's the skill that I want to learn?
Yeah.
I want to learn screenwriting. And so I went to UCLA.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Good you did.
So I went to UCLA for 1 hour screenwriting, and
wait, you did it for 1 hour?
No, it's called 1 hour. It's
like,
1 hour.
I
could probably learn screenwriting if you can do it in an hour. Sign me up.
And honestly, I can't stress this enough. The older you get, the better school is for you. It was so much fun. Mm-hmm. It was so cool. Also, as a Canadian, to go to UCLA on the campus. It's still the extension campus, but I was still like, oh my God, I'm in.
Oh, Bruin.
Yeah. I was like, this is so cool.
Bruins.
Yeah. It was such a great experience to go to school. It's at night, so, you just schedule your food and stuff like that and go to bed after. But I was like, this is great, dude. I was just hanging out, go to school every, it was on Mondays and then it was Tuesdays. And so it's 4 semesters. The teacher was so good to this day. He's a close friend of mine, Ed Horowitz. Mm-hmm. He wrote a lot of great movies and stuff like that. And so it was just a blast, man. And learning a new skill like that, it made me understand. So our show is 30 minutes, but this was 1 hour TV. So it was like more like dramas and stuff.
Okay.
It's like shows like Breaking Bad, Game of Thrones,
Law and
Severance,
Order. Wow.
Law and Order. So we all had to learn how to write those shows. And so for my show, so the first semester is you write for a show that already exists. So I wrote for Sex Education.
Okay.
It was a fun comedy. It was cool because I knew it was going to be something that I could write because of Ted Lasso is a comedy. So I knew that I could kind of write comedy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then, so you basically come up with an outline for an episode. And then second semester, 3 months later, is you write the episode.
Okay.
And then the third semester, 3 months later, is you come up with your outline for your TV show.
Okay.
And
so
then
you build your own TV
exactly.
show. Okay.
And then the last semester for 3 months, you write the pilot for your show.
Oh.
Wow.
It was so dope.
So what's your pilot called? What was your show called?
So the show that I made up is called Do No Harm.
Okay.
And it's the best cardiologist in Illinois is forced to become a mob doctor.
Oh.
Wait, I like this premise.
It was so much fun to write. It was, and then at the end,
now, was he a mob doctor like in Chicago?
In Chicago,
Okay,
yeah.
so he got
I
to
love
stay
it.
there.
Yeah, he got to
Yeah.
like he still practices, which is
Okay.
the pressure of the show. Is he has a
Right.
wife and kid. He's busy with being the best cardiologist in the state, but then he also because he's in debt with a mobster, and so the mobster tells him like, "Yo, one of our guys got shot. You need to fix him."
So it's a little bit.
Got
There's a
it.
Billy Crystal movie with Robert De Niro
but it's
that's
not
similar.
really a comedy. Yeah.
Right, there's
Analyze
something.
this.
Yeah.
It's
Analyze this.
basically
But
House.
similar. I mean, but
it's
there's
House meets The Sopranos.
House.
Okay.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
So
I like
not
that.
so more of like a dramedy, not like a comedy.
Yeah, no, it's just a drama.
Just
it's
a
not
drama.
even. There's no comedy really in
Oh.
it. Yeah, no, it's just a serious show. It's
I like it.
Yeah,
I
because
love it.
one of my favorite shows is Breaking Bad, so I wanted to make something that's in that vein. And I got a movie coming out in 2 weeks, so it's perfect. I'll talk about it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
What? Well, we're talking right now. So tell me about your. What is it?
it's Code 8 Part 2. So it's it's a movie that's on Netflix. It's really really cool story actually how the movie came about because the first movie was called Code 8, and it's
how do
my
you spell
buddy Code.
Code.
Yeah.
CODE. Okay.
And so my buddy Robbie Amell. So Robbie Amell, Stephen Amell. Stephen Amell is the guy from Arrow, and there's the show Heel also. And so Robbie and Stephen have I don't think they've ever worked together that way, but so they came up with this really cool concept about I think it's really in our day and age, but there's people who have powers. So some people have power,
Okay.
and it's like heavily regulated with the police and stuff like that.
So
and
like a Marvel type movie, those type of
Not
powers, like
really.
superpowers.
It's
or?
very superpowers, but it's very very grounded, which is really really cool. So it's like a quote unquote a hard sci-fi.
Okay.
And so for the first movie, they had like the concept, they had the script, and then their buddy Jeff Chan was like, okay, yo, let's just do it. So they did a GoFundMe, and they did a short. It was a 10-minute short,
Okay.
and it blew up. And everyone was like, yo, we need more. We want the whole thing. And so they did a GoFundMe, which just did really, really well.
So where did it blow up at? Did it blow up like on YouTube or
Yeah,
at
I guess
did it get
was,
awards or?
it must have been YouTube.
Okay.
Because I remember watching it on YouTube for 10 minutes and I was like, yo, it's like a mix of District 9 and...
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was so cool the way it was done. It was really, really dope. And so they made the whole movie. They made a whole movie. And then Robbie was a buddy of mine. He was like, would you like to be in it? And so like, I unfortunately I wasn't available because I was doing Jack Ryan at the time.
Okay.
So I had to go to Africa for a little bit. So I missed it, which was I was so angry because I was like, oh, I'm gonna work with my buddy, it's gonna be a blast and this and that. And then it was filming in Toronto too. I had just moved to LA, but I was like, yo, this is perfect coming back home for a little bit to work.
Right.
And then so I'm not in the first one, unfortunately. And then I do Ted Lasso, all of that, and he's like, yo, dude, we're about to do the second one. Do you want to be a part of it? I was like, yeah. He's like, okay. So I auditioned for it and everything. And then we shoot it and it's a blast and I'm filming with my buddy and stuff like that. And it's really cool. And it got me, I love anything that will get me to come home for a little bit, you know, like even though
Yeah.
like we filmed around November, so it wasn't cold. And it was Toronto, it wasn't Montreal, but still, I was like, that's cool. I went to see my mom for a little bit, so it was great. And so that movie is coming out at the end of this month. It's February 28th. So this time it's
Where are we going to be able to see it?
It's going to be on Netflix.
On Netflix. Okay.
Yeah. So I play a cop, and it was a blast to film, man. It was so cool to just work with a buddy of yours. You
Yeah,
know? That was
yeah.
fun. That was really cool.
Thanks for joining us today on Locales Only. I want to give a big thanks to Moe Jeudy Lamour. He was absolutely fantastic. And as always, to Fletcher Jones Motor Cars in Newport Beach, who were nice enough to give us this amazing 2023 all-electric EQE to be our rolling podcast studio. Join us next time on Locales Only, where you can buckle up and go for a ride in our mobile podcast studio with some of the coolest people in Southern California.